Everyone, so today we'll be making the new and improved cotton cheesecake. So as usual, we will have some cream cheese. How can we leave out the cream cheese in a cotton cheesecake, right? So I will be putting a block of cream cheese that's around 224 grams or 26 grams depending on the brand into a small saucepan. And also to the saucepan, we will be adding milk and butter and heat these three ingredients under medium heat for about 5 minutes or until the cream cheese has melted. You want to heat it till the big chunks of the cream cheese has fully incorporated into the milk and butter. It is okay to have little clumps of cream cheese. Did I mention earlier that this is a new and improved recipe? I'll be using a 9x13 pan here instead of using an 8-inch cake pan. You want to generously butter and flour the pan so the cake will not stick to the pan later. I just spray on some cooking spray and add a little bit of flour and just shake the pan a little and move the flour around until all the corners of the pan has covered in flour, and just throw away the excess. So our cream cheese mixture has been done, and I'll be adding the egg yolks that I separated from the egg whites earlier to the cream cheese mixture. After that has been added in, we will add in the dry ingredients that will be cornstarch and cake flour. So cake flour is a very important ingredient in this recipe because this recipe calls for a very soft and fluffy cake, which is not dense or buttery or anything. It is very moist. So if you can't find cake flour in your area, you can substitute 1 cup of all-purpose flour with 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. It's not gonna be the same, but hey, it does the job and it is a lot cheaper. But if you can't find cake flour, I really recommend using it. And just stir that in until you don't see any big clumps or trace of flour anymore. You don't want any big chunks of flour when you bite into your fluff, moist, and I don't know, it was just really good. And we have our egg whites here. I am going to use my stand mix and whip up the egg whites. I like to start slow, and when I see like foams, like big small foams on top, I will add in my first portion of sugar and just beat it again until there's no trace of egg whites anymore. I will add in my second portion of sugar and go back in and increase my speed gradually. And I add in the sugar in 3 portions, and after I add in my third portion of sugar, I crank up the speed and whip it until it is a very stiff peak. So when you flip it, it will not fall down. And I have our cream cheese mixture here. And I like to kind of just use a whisk and whisk it a couple more times before I add in 2 big dollops of egg whites and just mix that in. And after mixing that in, I will pour in the mixture we have in our saucepan to our egg whites that we whipped up at first. So we want to add in a little bit of egg whites to the cream cheese mixture before adding everything to the egg whites, because this prevents the cream cheese mixture from separating from the egg whites. So they will combine really nicely because there's a little bit of egg whites in there, and they will not separate. The more scientific explanation will be like you are adding you're combining two mixture with different oil contents. So if you want to make sure that they will not separate, like oil and water doesn't incorporate, but that's the extreme case. But like if you add in a little bit of egg whites to the cream cheese mixture, it will dilute down the oil content in the cream cheese mixture. And also there's a little bit of egg whites in the cream cheese mixture, so when we are combining the two together, they will come together more nicely than just straight up adding the cream cheese mixture into the egg whites. I'm not sure on this, but this is what I think, that why we always have to add in a little bit of egg whites before adding everything to the egg whites, if that makes sense. And just fold in the mixture. I like to go from bottom to top and kind of cut the mixture through before folding in, and just fold it until it has combined really nicely, and just pour it to your pan and flatten it and clean up any mess that you made, because I always make a mess. So bake it under a 325 oven for about 40 to 45 minutes for this 9 by 13 inch pan. So when it's around 30 minutes, take a look. If your top has been browned, use an aluminum foil to cover it up and just continue baking. If it's not brown, the last 10 minutes, take out your water bath and bake it for 10 more minutes until it is browned, and use a toothpick to test whether it's done or not. So again, 325 degrees for about 40 to 45 minutes depending on your oven and your pan size. And you want to bake this with a water bath. Okay, if anything doesn't make sense, just leave a comment below or message me if you want to. And give it a shaka and tappa. I have been watching a lot of Food Wishes lately. He is amazing. He is very talented, and that's how my cake came out, when I baked it for 45 minutes and I flipped it over to let it cool down. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Sorry, I have been rushing towards the end, and I think I sound pretty terrible because of my allergies. If you guys found any mistakes in the video, please let me know and I'll do better next time. Thank you.